Welcome everyone, my name is Alex Ramosi and I'm the CEO of Acquisition.com. We own a portfolio of companies. We've done over 120 million in sales just from our companies alone. And I have nothing to sell you. And so we work with $3 to $10 million companies to get them to profitable exit in 3 to 5 years. And what I want to do is share the frameworks that have worked to help them get more customers, make more money per sale, and differentiate themselves from the competition. And the offer is a core piece of that. And so if you're new or you're less than $3 million a year, in the last few videos, what we talked about was how to pick the right market, how to charge what it's worth, deconstructing value, creating grand slam offers, part one and part two, which is basically understanding their problems, understanding how to create solutions to those problems that are scalable and profitable, repackaging, combining those things with bonuses to provide more value and perceived value in the prospect's mind, guarantee and reverse the risk through conditional and unconditional guarantees that you can stack together, creating scarcity and urgency in order to get them to act and buy today to increase our cash conversion cycle so we can make more money faster and we can return our capital faster to us so that we can redeploy it. And so finally, the last step in this process is what I call the magic naming formula, which is how do we do this in such a way that the prospects will know that what we have is specifically for them, right? So for me, obviously, I just work, I'm looking for portfolio companies. But for everyone else, I'm just trying to give stuff to you guys for free so you can make money. And so I try and call that out to a certain degree. So the same degree, you want to do this with the offers that you're putting out, or at least this is what we found effective with the companies that we work with. And so one of the reasons that your offer might not be actually making money is because your prospects don't know it's for them, right? Or they don't know what problem you are solving for them. So it's either one of those things. So it's they don't know it's for them, they don't know the problem that you're solving for them, or they don't know how you're going to solve that problem, and if it's a way that they actually like it. And so what we want to do here is make our prospects know their office, the converse of that, right? Is make them know that it's for them, that it's going to solve their problem the way they want it to be solved. And that last piece is really important because people want problems to be solved in certain ways. So for example, I'll give a breakdown of this really quickly, and then I'll get into how to name your bonuses and name the programs and promotions well, so that you get higher conversion rates. But when we were serving the fitness space exclusively, we don't do that anymore. But we found out that if a prospect came in for, let's say, a gym membership, and they didn't come in for as a gym membership, they came in to lose weight, right? So there was a bigger outcome, a bigger need that they had. And then we tried to sell them into a gym membership or some sort of training services. Now, here's what's interesting is that if the person said no, and then we said, hey, can we just help you with your nutrition instead? Don't worry about it, free on us. We just want to provide goodwill. They said, sure. And what was interesting is that people would come back a day or two later and we'd give them a nutrition consultation and we'd actually sell them more product than the average client who came in for training services. All right. So we made literally, people would on average buy $200 some worth of supplements if they had just bought training services, and they would buy on average $300 plus if they hadn't bought anything. And so I think that tells us a couple of things. One is, just because someone doesn't want to buy the core thing that you have doesn't mean they still don't want to solve the problem. They just might want it to be solved differently. On top of that, it showed us that those people actually valued that more, which is why they were more willing to spend money on it. You could also make the argument that they hadn't spent money on the first thing, so they had more in their kind of budget left over. But we've always taken the stance that people buy and make purchasing decisions out of different perceived wallets, right? Like you have a gym membership wallet, you have a grocery wallet, you have a supplements wallet. These are additional wallets and budgets that people have in their mind. So you actually don't tap out one. Like you're not actually stealing from another place. It's actually a different budget, which gets into a whole other category of stuff that I won't get into during this video. But it's good to understand. So we want to make sure that we're letting them know that we're going to solve their problem the way they want it to be solved. And so the way that we do this is what I use the magic headline formula. All right. And so this is not just like headlines for ads. It's kind of just a naming formula that you can use for all sorts of things. All right. And this has been really effective for us in making things. And so magic is an acronym for M, make a magnetic reason. A, announce the avatar. G, give them a goal. I, indicate a time interval. And then C, complete with a container word. All right. And so the whole idea here is that we want to let the people know. So this is announce the avatar, what we're going to accomplish for them. That's the goal. In what time, the time interval. And we're going to give them a reason why we're doing this thing. And we're going to complete with a container word. And there's no other sexier way to say that, but almost always we have some sort of container word that combines all this stuff together. All right. And so let me dive into a couple examples. Note, everything you do doesn't need to be named this way, but it's just very useful when naming programs and promotions for advertising. Like not every single thing you do has to follow this formula, but I've seen it be very effective, especially on a niche and local level, and very, very effective for naming bonuses. So let's try and go to a couple examples here. All right. So category one, we have like wellness, everything that's wellness. And I try to take big chunks of the marketplace here so these could all apply. Hopefully you can see these from the screen. If not, I'll read them out loud. But like a free 6-week Lean by Halloween challenge. All right. So in this, I don't have the avatar called out. And so this is a good note, is that I try and get as many of those components in, which is why word selection can be so important. But we're not always going to get them all in. So I try and get at least 3 or 4 of these in. If I can get all 5, awesome. If I can't, it's okay. Another would be like 88% off a 12-week bikini blueprint. All right, so I've got my promotion here. I've got my reason why. I've got my my goal, which is the bikini. I've got the blueprint, which is my container word, and I've got my duration of time, which is 12 weeks, right? If I say free 21-day mommy makeover, then I know my makeover is my container word. The makeover also double functions as the end goal, so I get 2 out of that one, which is why word selection is so important. 21-day, I've got my time interval. Free, I got my reason why, and I got mommy, right? So call my avatar out. 60-minute, make your friends jealous model hair system. All right, so it's going to tell. I'm telling them how long it's going to take. I'm telling the outcome is make your friends jealous, and then the model hair system is the system is the container word, right? Now this one I didn't get to call out who this would be perfect for, but you can imagine already this is probably not a guy's product. Make your friends, that could be, depending on level, but that's probably in the mid-age range. So let's go on to the next one. 6-week stress release challenge. That's a really simple one. That was a promotion that worked very well for one of our case study businesses that we worked with. Free. Bend over pain-free in 42 days healing fast track. All right, so this will be maybe for a pain clinic. All right, and so these are just examples of kind of using these things as headlines for advertisements, as lead-ins to copy, etc. All right, for doctors, it might be $2,000 off celebrity smile transformation. Lakeway moms, $1,500 off kids' braces. 12-month to a perfect smile, $1,000 off for 15 families. That's a nice reason why. But back to school free braces giveaway. These are all really interesting things. I'd be like, oh, wow, back to school. Like, there's a reason why. I see the promotion. I see what the end goal is. And then the giveaway is the power word. So it's like, I've already got 4 of those components in that thing. It'll probably work very well. Grand opening free, reason why. Free x-ray treatment, instant relief. So that would be, I've got the benefit, I've got the thing, I've got the reason why, grand opening. And so these are all effective headlines, right? And I'll give you a couple coaching ones. 5 clients in 5 days blueprint, 7-figure HG 12-week intensive, 14-day to find your perfect product launch, fill your gym in 30 days free, right? And so these are all different things. These are headline formulas that we've used really, really effectively over time. And so what I want to do here is take a quick note on the time interval. So this is just something that, the nuances that you develop with doing this a lot is that I found that for bonuses, you want to think in terms of seconds, minutes, hours. So I might have a program, that might be one thing. And then within that program, I have a clear your inbox in 30 minutes if I was like selling something to an agency or some sort of business thing, right? And so here, the overall program might be in days, weeks, months, right? The overall system might be days, weeks, months in terms of what the system is, or even quarters. But the subtopics, the things that are going to solve the problem within the system, will be looking at seconds, minutes, hours. So if you can, here's my big system, which is maybe a 6-month transformation of some sort, a business transformation, a marriage transformation, a health transformation, a IT transformation, whatever it is, right? There's a transformation that people are trying to buy, a gap between where they are and where they want to go. Now, the subtopics, the bonuses, the features underneath of that are going to be mini transformations that all lead up to the larger transformation. And these are things that we should know more about than the prospect. Again, just like the bonuses section, these things will also create more assumption that what we are doing is effective, because if we start solving problems beyond the problems they have, they're going to believe that we can solve them because we're already solving the next thing. All right. But with those, breaking them down so that the micro components lead into the major component tends to work really well. And there are lots of things that if you actually think about it in these time frames, in seconds and minutes and hours, it makes things so much more compelling. So let me give you a quick example of how time can literally make something more interesting. So if I said I had a hairspraying system, like, looking like a model, or process, right? And I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm really good at it, right? If I said, hey, I'm going to give you my hairspraying system that makes everyone look like models, that's cool, right? But if I say I have a hairspraying system that takes 10 seconds instead of 10 minutes, then all of a sudden this thing is significantly more valuable, right? And so that's why time is such a critical component to creating value. That's why Amazon Prime blew up. That's why Netflix has instant access. That's why the easiest way to enter a marketplace is to look at what everyone else is doing from a result standpoint and try and cut the time in half, right? These are easy ways to provide value. And so they should be communicated in the naming of the offer so that our prospects can also overcome some of their biggest objections, which is, how long is this going to take me? Is it going to be worth it? Well, if it only takes 10 seconds, it is going to be worth it for me, and it's not going to take that long. So my effort and sacrifice is low, therefore the value of this thing is higher, right? And so when we're thinking about this stuff, just as a final note to just drive this point home, if you were going to the dentist, right, a tooth extraction that takes 60 minutes is less valuable than one that takes 5 minutes, right? And so value is very much communicated in time. And remember that telling someone that it's going to take longer is not necessarily more valuable. You don't want to sell more of your time. You want to get them to their goal faster. And so what the amount of time that you give to them is independent, is completely irrelevant to the outcome that they're trying to achieve. And so making sure that we always think about things in terms of time intervals seconds, minutes, hours for the micro things, days, weeks, months for when they're going to achieve the larger transformation is how I like to think through these naming conventions. All right. So now that we know how to name the offers and the subpoints of the offers, what happens when promotions fatigue? So this is going to be a little bit more nuanced to niche markets and local markets, but what happens when your promotions fatigue? It's really important because especially in a local marketplace, you're going to run out of stuff quickly, right? You burn through the marketplace fast. Kind of the double-edged sword of local marketing is that it's easy to get to work and it's very hard to keep getting to work because you have to basically reinvent the wheel every 21 days. All right. So this is how to refresh promotions. This is kind of the order of operations that we look at. So we try and do this in order of least operational drag to most operational drag. And that should make sense because we're trying to incur as little cost as possible when we're making these changes in our advertising, right? So the first thing we'll do is we'll change the creative. All right, so these are the images and the pictures in your ads, right? So if you see the purple boxes here, these are both the exact same thing, the same program. It's just there's different creative. And so I don't need to change what I'm offering. I just need to change the video that's associated with it or the picture that's associated with my advertisement. So I can refresh that and run it again. The next thing I can do is change the body copy, so the actual words of the advertisement. I could have two ads. If you have copy that works very well, you can keep refreshing the creative over and over again. Over time, though, you need to change the words. And so this is kind of the next level down of operations. It takes a little bit more time to do that than changing the images and videos, which is why it's the second one in the order of operations. The third is changing the headline or the wrapper of the offer. That's what we just literally went over. All right, so that's changing your 6-week lean challenge to a 6-week tone challenge, or changing it from a free 6-week weight loss thing to a free 42-day detox, right? That's using time in that instance to change the interval, right? Another way is renaming the same thing, like holiday hangover becomes New Year, New You. Same time period, same season, etc. It's just another way of naming the same thing. And so first thing we do is we don't change anything, just change the images, then we change the words, then we change the headlines, all right? Now, the fourth thing is changing the duration of the offer. Now, there's two ways to do this. The first way is changing the metric that we're measuring with. So an example of that would be, 1 month turns to 28 days, right? More or less, right? I mean, it's 3 days difference, but you get the idea, right? 1 month turns into 4 weeks. So these are different metrics, but they still are the same thing. And the nice thing is that you don't have to change anything about your business, but it still makes your promotion fresh and new. All right. A different example, the second way of doing this is going from 1 month to 6 weeks. All right, so this is actually changing the duration of time of the promotion. That means you probably have to change some contracts, have to let the sales guys know, have to let your fulfillment team, etc., that these things are going to change. But these are things that will help in keeping your promotions fresh and regular. All right. Now, I put this other piece here just as a reminder that you could do 7 days, it could be 164 hours, it could be 1 week. And sometimes changing those metrics actually will make your offering so much more unique simply by changing time. And I hope you've noticed this repeated framing here is that time is a huge component of value, and making sure that we name it properly and that we bucket that stuff can make it significantly more valuable and refresh it in the minds of our prospects. All right. The next one is changing the enhancer of your offer. All right. So that means adding a free component, adding a discounted component to the offering to make it more compelling. This is in order, or the goal here is to get people who are otherwise on the edge who wouldn't take action to take action on the offer. Now, candidly, I'm not a big fan, and I've talked about this in the books, of mild discounts, 10% off, 20% off. I don't think that changes buyer behavior. I don't think that gets someone to buy who otherwise wouldn't. I'm in favor of free and massive discounts because those are the things that are going to drive people who are on the fence or saw a promotion and wouldn't otherwise have reacted, but then take action, okay? So if I had been running something like that for a while, then I might change my $1 trial to something that's free, like a free start or a free trial. I might change a $1 trial to 99% off. It might be the same thing, 99.2% off, something unique and different. A $1 trial might become no money down. So these are all different ways that I could say the same thing. And so what this does is it's changing the enhancer around the offer on its own, which will refresh the creative altogether. So if you're stuck and you're not getting, your ads aren't working, this is the way that I outline it, okay? And then the sixth thing that you can do, and this is the heaviest of all the types of changes you can do. I mean, the fifth one, changing the time period, it can be heavy. You got to change contracts. You might have to add a couple weeks of fulfillment, things like that. But when you change the monetization structure, that is the hardest thing to do, right? That's really changing the core piece of your business. Now, for context here, we change these things every 7 days at the top. We change these things every 2 to 3weeks. We change these things probably every quarter. We change the duration of our offer. We don't change it that frequently. It might be, once a year or twice a year. The enhancer in the offer, that usually is a constant. And then finally, changing the monetization structure happens maybe every 2 to 3 years. It's very rare that we'll do that. And so once we have a monetization structure that works, which is the series of offers we give prospects, and the price points associated with them, we're not going to change that very much. Now, I have tons of trainings on monetization structures that have not come out yet. Hopefully, maybe when you watch this, they will be out. But at the moment of this making, this is the first training, so they are not out yet. But these are the things that we do in order to refresh promotions and programs without having to incur a lot of operational drag. All right, and so this is again very important for local businesses and niches. So the point of this video was to help you solve this problem of getting your advertising being tired of the programs that you have seeming stale. And so the goal here is to use the Magic Headline formula to make sure that your prospects know that it is for them and that it will solve their problem the way they want it to be solved. And that is the goal. All right. And so we're solving these problems. And that last piece of the way they want it to be solved is going to be especially true for sub items and bonus items that you would include inside of a package, like a 10-minute grocery calculator or, how to find properties in 60 seconds or less. Those are things that are bonuses that are going to be pieces to the overarching transformation that someone likes to know it's going to take a very small amount of time and provide a lot of return. All right. And so we've gone on a long, lovely journey together. We talked about how to find the right markets, how to charge what it's worth. We deconstructed value, reconstructed it, figured out the problems, figured out the solutions, figured out ways to provide those things in delivery vehicles that are high margin. That's where the delivery cube came in. Bonuses that we can do to further extend the value discrepancy between what people are buying, what they believe they're getting. Guarantees associated with them, unconditional, conditional, and how to stack those so that you can get people to say yes. The scarcity and urgency to get them to say yes faster, so you can decrease your cash conversion cycle, make it faster. And then finally, the Magic Email formula to make sure that your promotions never go stale, and that you'll never go hungry in your business, and always name it in a way that people say, that is for me, I will raise my hand. And so if this was cool for you, I have more free courses at acquisition.com. Candidly, I said this before, I'll say it again. We work with $3 to $10 million companies to help them scale and exit in 3 to 5 years and only have to get rich once. If you're below $3 million, my very transparent goal is to have you not have to ever buy anyone's stuff and just execute on these things. And the courses that my goal is to be better than the high-ticket coaching things that you get offered and the $1,000 and $2,000 courses that you have. I want to give it all away for free. And it's candidly because I don't need your money. And so my perfect world is you use this stuff, you build your company to 3 million, 5 million, 8 million, and then you say, hey, Alex, it would be awesome if you could help us exit this for 50. And that is where I would love to help you out with that, because that is my goal. That's what I love, and I want everyone to be wealthy. So anyways, if you see anything when you get to that page that has locked, it's because I'm making these in real time. So you don't have to pay anything to learn them. I'm making them as we go. Hopefully by the time you watch this, nothing will be locked, but I'm trying as fast as I can to get all these out as we continue to run our portfolio companies and scale them. So out of integrity to the companies that I work with, I have to make sure that I prioritize them, but I continue to give you the lessons and learnings that I take from them directly from in the trenches so that you can use them in your business and grow. All right, so if you are one of those guys, all you have to do is go to acquisition.com and you can see and enter your info in, and if it seems like a good fit from what you entered, one of my team will reach back out and see if there's anything we can do to help. So anyways, lots of love, keep being amazing, and I'll see you in the next course.